All right, let's look at how to evaluate or interpret a graph. Okay, so this might be the kind of graph that you've got. Now, I just randomly made this stuff up. Okay, there is no such thing as brand X or brand Y, but let's say this is your graph. You're looking at pumps, comparing these two brands, brand X and brand Y. Okay, and this is the two lines we've got. We've got horsepower down the bottom here and price up the side, and this would have been the data table that I would have started off with. Okay, and this is the graph that we've produced. So what you've got to do once you've got your graph is to basically pick some features and say something intelligent and mathematical about them. All right, so I'm just going to walk you through how to pick one feature. So you look at your graph and try to find some features that you can discuss. Okay, so clearly, this is brand Y and that's brand X. Okay, so clearly brand Y are cheaper. This is price here. They're cheaper. All right, but let's talk about what's happening at the end point here, which is when it's 55 horsepower. Okay, so the 55 horsepower models, what's going on there? Well, we've got our data here. So brand X is worth that much. Brand Y is worth that much. Okay, that's the cost. All right, so that's something that we can set up in a discussion or in a sentence, basically. All right, so you move into another bit of paper. You could say something like this. Okay, so brand X tends to be more expensive than brand Y. Okay, so that's just a general statement just by looking at this. Clearly, this is above that one, so that one's more expensive. That's the general trend. Now, if all you do is those kinds of statements, you're not going to get too many marks. That's just a general statement. Once you've done that, you need to back it up with something. Okay, now here's a classic sentence starter. For example, okay, at 55 horsepower. At 55 horsepower, this is what's happening there. Okay. Brand X costs $2,100, and brand Y costs what was it? $1,530. Okay, boom! You have just quoted data to back this up. So this is your general statement here. You've got to start with a general statement, but then you immediately back it up by quoting some data. Okay, quoting some of the numbers that you've researched. All right, then, and this is the important bit, then you've got to add some basic maths. Okay, so for instance, let's work out the percentage. Okay, so one way is to say, let's do this, percentage difference. So 1530 over 2100. So that's brand Y over brand X, isn't it? Okay, times 100. So what I'm doing there is I'm finding what percentage is brand Y over brand X. So what I'm actually doing is what percentage is this distance here compared to that distance there. Okay, that's the cost of brand Y and that's the cost of brand X, just as a distance on the graph. What percentage of this big one is this smaller one? Okay, so you go that times 100 divided by that, and you end up with pretty close to 73%. Okay, What that means is brand Y is 73% of the cost of brand X at 55 horsepower. Okay, that's the sort of thing that you do. All right, and you do that for at least one feature of each graph, preferably more than one. All right, but you notice the pattern. It's always going to have this same pattern. A general sentence, one sentence that's a general sentence. Actually, let me just spell this out for you here. First thing you do, a general sentence, a general statement. Okay. Next, quote data to back up the statement. And then some basic calculations. Those three things, that is what you're going to do for every feature of the graph. Okay, so if you want to get an A, probably aim for at least 2 features per graph. 3 would be better, quite frankly. Doing 2 features really well, okay, with plenty of detail. 3 is better. If you can find 3 features of your graph, that is A-worthy. All right. So, but at the very least, okay, you're just doing this 3 things for every feature, same steps, and that is how you analyze a graph.